Things tend to get a little crazy when I go away. I have to tell you, when I jumped online and I saw all of the X trends, I wasn't exactly certain whether last week represented the preliminary trial of Tyler Robinson.
Candace Owens versus the Tyler Robinson case. Is the public being misled? Hey, my famous fam. Welcome back to Famous Faces Scoop TV. Today we're looking at one of the most debated criminal cases on social media, and one that has divided not only viewers but also some of the biggest commentators online. Political commentator Candace Owens has publicly challenged the prosecution's case against Tyler Robinson, arguing that the evidence deserves much closer scrutiny. On the other side, prosecutors maintain they have presented substantial evidence, including DNA evidence, digital communications, surveillance footage, and witness testimony. Meanwhile, the defense argues that key aspects of that evidence have been misunderstood or interpreted incorrectly. It's important to remember that this case is still moving through the legal system and no final verdict has been reached. Today's video isn't about declaring someone guilty or innocent. That's the job of the courts. Instead, we're examining something just as fascinating: how one commentator has managed to influence a massive online conversation, why millions of people are suddenly paying attention to this case, and why public opinion sometimes moves much faster than the legal system itself. Let's get into it.
It is the new wear a mask, save lives, 6 feet social distancing. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming. Check out this little collage we put together of influencers who apparently need to pop a Xanax, right? The evidence is becoming overwhelming against Tyler Robinson. Thanks, Graham. Steve Deese, today's podcast, an overwhelming evidence against Tyler Robinson. Paramount, not so tactical. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming.
One of the first things Candace Owens argues is that many people accepted a conclusion before examining what has actually been presented in court. Whether you agree with her or not, this highlights something we've seen repeatedly in high-profile cases. News breaks quickly. Headlines spread across social media in minutes. People begin debating before most court documents are even publicly available. That's not unique to this investigation. It's how modern media works. People naturally want quick answers, especially when a tragic event captures national attention. The problem is that criminal investigations don't move at the speed of social media. Investigators collect evidence over weeks or months. Lawyers spend months reviewing discovery. Witnesses are interviewed repeatedly. Experts analyze physical evidence. The public, however, often forms opinions within hours. Candace argues that's exactly what happened here. Prosecutors obviously disagree. Their position is that their investigation produced evidence supporting the charges, and that evidence has been presented through the court process. The defense argues the evidence should be interpreted differently. That disagreement is precisely why the legal system exists. Courtrooms aren't designed to reward the loudest voice. They're designed to examine evidence under legal standards. That's an important distinction because public discussion and courtroom procedure are not the same thing.
Okay, foremost, we were told over and over again that Tyler Robinson was turned in by his own family and that he confessed to the crime. At various points, we were told his mother recognized him on the news. His father turned him in and they both made official police statements against their son. In fact, Bill Ackman, king of the Hamptons.
One reason Candace Owens' coverage has generated so much attention is her audience. She's one of the largest independent commentators online, and major live streams can attract very large live audiences. When someone with that kind of reach spends hours discussing a single case, it naturally encourages many viewers to look more closely at publicly available information. That doesn't automatically mean her conclusions are correct, nor does it automatically mean they're wrong. It means her platform has become influential enough that people who may never have followed this case before are suddenly paying attention. That creates both opportunities and challenges. The opportunity is that more people become interested in understanding how the legal system works. The challenge is that online conversations can sometimes become polarized very quickly. Instead of asking, what does the evidence actually show? People sometimes begin asking, which side am I on? Those are two very different questions. The justice system isn't supposed to function like a popularity contest. It functions through evidence, testimony, cross-examination, and legal procedure.
Ever committed, decided to do that in broad daylight, in a burning rage over LGBTQ rights, particularly trans rights, because he has a trans furry boy.
Another recurring theme in Candace's commentary is the language surrounding the investigation. She questions phrases such as overwhelming evidence and encourages viewers to examine what has actually been presented publicly rather than relying only on headlines. That's a reasonable reminder in a broader sense because words like overwhelming or open and shut are descriptive, they're not legal conclusions. At the same time, prosecutors maintain that the evidence they have presented supports the charges. The defense disputes that interpretation and argues that the evidence should be viewed differently. Those competing arguments are exactly what the court process is designed to evaluate. It's also worth remembering that a preliminary hearing serves a different purpose than a trial. Generally, the question at that stage is whether there is sufficient evidence for the case to proceed, not whether guilt has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. That distinction can easily be lost in online discussions where individual moments are often clipped and shared without the surrounding legal context.
Anyways, here's a clip of people telling us that that's what happened, and we were going to find that out.
I was having a discussion about how just as a father, how incredible it was to see, and just almost unbelievable it was to see Tyler Robinson's parents play a role in turning over their son.
Tyler Robinson and the video and footage of him were identified also by his parents as being Tyler Robinson.
Tyler Robinson's parents see that photo and think, that looks like Tyler. They begin asking him things like, where is I believe it was his grandfather's gun. Mm-hmm. They start asking him this. Tyler Robinson starts talking like he might kill himself. They get a friend of the family to sit down with him. He admits that it's him. They get him to drive up to Orem and turn himself in.
Another interesting aspect of this story isn't just the evidence, it's the reaction. Every day, social media fills with people convinced they already know exactly what happened. Some believe the prosecution's case is strong. Others believe the defense has raised significant questions. Then there are viewers who simply want to wait for the legal process to unfold. This illustrates something larger than one case. In today's media environment, courtroom proceedings don't happen in isolation. Every hearing is analyzed. Every filing is debated. Every witness becomes the subject of online discussion. Sometimes that increased attention can encourage people to learn more about the legal process. Sometimes it can also make it harder to separate verified facts from speculation or opinion. That's why it's valuable to ask where information comes from, whether it's being confirmed in court, and whether a statement reflects evidence, legal argument, or personal commentary.
Charlie Kirk was betrayed. That is evident. He's being betrayed every single day. I can't wait to get into Turning Point USA and the crash out they had online. Andrew Colvett finally coming up to the surface. Deceitful, the Judas, no question. My dream was on point about who he is, and everyone is now seeing his character. So much so that Ben Shapiro actually ventured out to tell the truth about him and Charlie's relationship, while Andrew really was going to say that Charlie and Ben were friends.
Whether someone agrees with Candace Owens or not, one thing is difficult to deny. She has succeeded in getting people to pay attention. Many people who had never heard of this case are now reading court filings, following hearings, and discussing legal standards. That influence also brings responsibility. The same is true for news organizations, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and creators like us. When a criminal case is still ongoing, it's important to distinguish between established facts, allegations, legal arguments, and personal opinions. Doing so helps viewers make informed decisions rather than simply reacting to headlines or viral clips.
And to get himself out of something, he threw in Tyler Robinson. That's my opinion. I do believe that Tyler Robinson was around campus on that day. I do believe he was at the Dairy Queen, that he was depositing clothes, which could have been his part. I don't know, maybe Lance told him to do that, showing up for his boyfriend. All of that will come out in the trial if they allow the trial to go forward. for the next 5 years. This is what trials take. That's going to be the length of this trial, right?
As this case continues through the courts, more evidence, testimony, and legal arguments may emerge. Until there is a final outcome, it's worth remembering that public debate and courtroom decisions are not the same thing. Whether you find yourself agreeing more with Candace Owens, the prosecution, the defense, or whether you're still undecided, the most important thing is to stay curious, look at reliable information, and allow the legal process to do its work. Here on Famous Faces Scoop TV, we'll continue following major stories like this with thoughtful discussion and respect for the facts as they develop. I'd love to hear from you. Do you think social media commentators help people engage more deeply with complex legal cases, or do they sometimes make it harder to separate opinion from evidence? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join the Famous Fam. Turn on your notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the biggest stories making headlines. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.